You have questions, we have answers. This is Jane Miller.
And this is Ken Miller. Welcome to our show, all about real estate with Ken and Jane. Well, Jane, spring is finally here.
Oh, spring was here a little earlier.
Yeah, and you know what?
Last few days was so hot.
Yeah, but now we're getting some good spring weather, and with spring comes the anticipation for longer days, light, bright beach weather coming up. But this show is about real estate, so we're going to talk about how spring is relevant to your home and what your home needs. Well, a home is like a car. It needs constant maintenance. You don't just buy a car, drive it without maintaining it. And likewise,
you can, you'll be stuck in the highway somewhere.
Yeah, then you better have a AAA, or you better know how
road assistance,
or you better know how to hitchhike. Right. Well, the home is the same thing. I mean, you can buy. Unfortunately, we encounter this with homes that sometimes people buy a home and they really don't do anything to it, and then over time it's going to deteriorate. And so it's very important, as we covered in the fall. It's equally important in the spring that the homeowners that are responsible, that own homes, they do a spring maintenance checkup. And these are certain PMM, preventive maintenance, to keep your home in tip-top shape and make sure. And we're going to cover those some of those line items that are very important for the homeowners to do.
Absolutely, Ken. Sometimes it's a heartbreaking, right? When I go into some homes, luxury homes, especially the home built 60s and 70s, you knew in that time the home is truly luxury home. It's like, right? But today it's really run down, need a total makeover. So it's sad, heartbroken to see. But obviously, the longer you put it off, the more work you have to do to bring up to, a good maintenance standard. But if you do a little bit each year, or a little bit in the spring, little bit in the fall, your house always going to be a very, very good condition. I mean, I do sell a lot of, in the past 15 years, I did sell a lot of homes. It's really no upgrades, Ken. The bathroom still exactly remember the blue tiles, yellow, and
right.
The pink color, black? It's still exactly like the grandma's bathroom, but clean.
Clean,
clean and neat. And the kitchen still old style, but it's just like the condition is really good. So this type of home, right, even though it's dated, but a lot of buyer, they still want to buy it because they can just really move in to live there for time being until they save the money to do the upgrade gradually. Unlike other home, if you lack of maintenance, immediately you need the window, immediately you need the siding, immediately you need the roof, immediately you need everything.
Right.
But this kind of home, right, carries value. No, like you mentioned, Ken, no different with the cars, right? If you have a very good maintenance record, the car runs smoothly, even it's aging, but it still carry very good value.
Right. So we're gonna go through the checklist of the important things to look for that are, again, just maintenance, that are not that costly. To start with, the air conditioning system. It's important for your HVAC that you check the filter and change it. It's probably been since the fall since you last did that. So by changing the filter, you keep the unit running more efficiently. It doesn't have to work as hard. If your filter is clogged, not only is it unhealthy, but the unit is working harder to push the air through the system. So that's a very inexpensive check. And if some homeowners take it a step further and they'll have their service contractor, service it and check it and tune it up. That can't hurt. It's a good idea if you want to do that. But at the very least, check the filter, change it if necessary.
Ken, we always, the older rental property we represent, we always put in a lease. They should change, every quarterly, the filter, right? I know it really depends on the home, depends on the environment. Some people may think quarterly is overkill, but at least 6 months you should change. Quarterly will be highly recommended because even though it costs you more with the filter, but your machine run more efficient and save the energy. But least 6 months. Every time before you turn on the AC in April is a good time to to check it, to change the filter, and then the fall before your first time, October, before you turn on the heat, you do the same thing. That's minimum, right? That's a minimum. If you can do 4 times, would be great. And like you mentioned, Ken, if you can have some company, like have a contract with them, check it. That's funny. I have a few clients, they have a contract. Every year they get the maintenance guy come in April or come in September, October to check it. I said, why? I mean, every year you check twice. He said, Jane, you never know. In case if it's 100 degree out there, if my AC didn't work, when you call the company, everybody backed up, everybody waiting list, I will say, you were just here a few weeks ago. You got to come back. So now I'm on top of the list.
Yeah.
So
I think
that's why.
We're also guilty of that. We have an HVAC system that we don't even know how old it is, but we've changed the filter on a regular basis. But I can't remember the last time we had the service tech come.
We did it once.
But once
yeah.
or twice.
Yeah.
But yeah, we haven't done it on a regular basis. But some homeowners really are proactive and they don't want to be reactive and they want to have that service done just to make sure before there's any major problems. And then you're stuck with having to.
Yeah, just like a car, like you said, Ken, right? If you regularly get a car service, and now, I mean, in recent years, we'll have a new car, so we'll have to go through the schedule. But I remember the one was a poor student. We bought a second or third, fourth-hand car, and the light doesn't go on. So it doesn't remind you have to service the car, really. You have to know roughly you're going to get a service, right? I mean, if you don't service one day, very quickly, your car may stop somewhere in the middle of the road. So if you keep it serviced, you reduce the risk, and plus, there's better for the car. The longer life for the car would work for you. So home is the same way.
Right. A house has even though a house is stationary, it has moving parts like the HVAC, the fans, the blowers. You've got systems going through the house, so they have to be maintained. They're mechanical, electrical. So
absolutely.
There you go. That's the same thing. The second thing we want to talk about are batteries. Again, this is more of a life safety thing. Make sure your smoke detectors and your carbon monoxide detectors are up and running and they're working properly. Usually most of the smoke detectors you can buy the 10-year sealed batteries. So once you change them, they're good for 10 years. And a lot of the homes, if you closed on a home recently and it dates back to the 70s, if it's only a battery system, it must have the 10-year sealed battery. So you should be in good shape with that. But if you have an electrical system, it has battery backup. You want to make sure the batteries aren't chirping. If they are, change them. With the carbon monoxide detectors, again, check them and make sure that they're in good working order.
In a lot of homes we saw, right, especially Chinese cooking, right, when you cook, the alarm always going to go off. Some owners take off the alarm, which is I told them that, you can't. The alarm has to be on. That's protect you. If you're cooking, open the window, right, because the alarm is a lifesaver.
Right.
You have to check the alarm battery because, as you said, Ken, recent purchased home, they have a new law. You have the 10-year sealed battery. But if you're the owner, you bought the house in 90s or even 2000, I mean, the house built in 60s, 70s, they all have a battery backup. You have to check it. You have to check it. Sometimes you can test yourself. If it doesn't work, replace it. That's life-saving. That's not only maintenance. That's save lives.
That's life safety. Absolutely.
Yes.
That's so important. Another one is the hose bibs. If they've been dewinterized, which they should have been, now's probably a good time. Hopefully we're beyond the frost. So you can start to think about opening the hoses up, open up the valves inside, so they're ready to go. Check them, make sure, of course, they're in good working order. But that's a relatively easy one.
Yeah.
Now we get to the gutters and the leaders. In the fall they should have been clean, but in the interim between the fall and now, there's probably been more leaves, more branches. We've had storms, a lot of branches. So it's a good,
as well.
Dirt. I thought you said bird. I was going to say
dirt.
Bird. Okay.
That's my Chinese accent, Ken. I thought you'd be used to it by now.
Well, we had situations where there were nests and there was plants growing in the gutters because they were so poorly neglected. So you don't want to get to that stage because if and when the gutters don't do what they're intended to do, which is to collect the rainwater and put it through the leaders, and you start getting dirt and debris growing in it, they become clogged. So the water has no place to go. So the water doesn't go in the gutters. It runs down the house, and once water gets up against the house, eventually it's going to hit the foundation, and over time the water will win out the battle, and the water will get into the house and through the foundation and start causing cracking and all sorts of problems.
Yes, absolutely.
So you really, 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 it's not an expensive thing, and please, if you're not able or you don't feel uncomfortable about climbing on a ladder, get a contractor. There's many contractors that do it. Safety is first, and then get somebody professional to do the job for you.
Absolutely. That's safety first because a lot of people said, why I want to pay people to do it? I could do myself. And can you imagine if you fall? That's definitely absolutely get someone to do it. If you want to do the yard yourself, maintenance the shrubs and everything, that's one thing. Climb up the ladder, especially you have a 2-story, that's a big job. Let a professional help you to get it done. Yes.
Right. And along with the gutters and the leaders, it's a good time also in the spring. Now the weather's nice to take a walk around your house and check the foundation, check the soil pitch, make sure that the soil is pitched away from the foundation and you've got an adequate slope because the worst thing you want is if the soil is pitched towards the foundation because that means the water is going to pond against it and eventually it's going to cause problems. So the pitching away is, again, it's a simple maintenance procedure. And then if you need more soil, buy soil or regrade it. But just that's simple things. And that'll probably cure 60 to 70% of all the water infiltration problems if your gutters and leaders are working efficiently as they're intended and you pitch the soil away from the house.
Yes, absolutely can. I think some families may have contractors to take off the loan for them. Just let them know, just have a look, walk around the house, just make sure the pitch is right, and clip the shrubs and then do a little maintenance for the landscaping. That's go a long way too. Yeah, and one thing is like some family may have a sparkling system, right? And have the guy when they winterize, or if you do yourself, and always check the heads because sometimes you need to be replaced. If you have a contractor do it for you, almost all the contractor will do that for you. They check it. If it needs to be changed, they will change it for you. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
And just as we say, walk around the outside of the house to check the foundation, it's probably good to take a walk in the interior. Go down to your basement. When you go down the basement, if you need a dehumidifier, now's a good time to start it running again because now the air is getting more humid. I know our dehumidifier started operation again. It's very important to have that running so the moisture gets collected and doesn't build up and, create mold, and also check the foundation. Make sure that there's no evidence of any cracking or water infiltration.
Ken, I'm glad you mentioned that. One day, I went to a home. They are thinking about selling their home. So I went down to the basement. I mean, if you have a finished basement, it's hard to see, but that was unfinished basement. I looked, I said, did you know your wall is cracked? What? I didn't see it. So I showed them, and then they said, "Oh, we live here over 12 years, we never noticed because we never noticed." I said, well, every year you should really, come down, have a look at the wall because there's a, crack on the wall. So
right. And the crack could be serious or it could be non-serious.
Yes.
It all depends on the type, the size, if it's a horizontal versus vertical crack.
That was a vertical, wasn't a big deal, but still you should, at least monitoring it.
Monitor
you just see whether there's any water seep in or any wet spot or something. Just keep an eye on it. Preventing is the key.
Right.
Just like our human health, right? Preventing is the key.
They said prevention is worth a pound of cure, right?
That's right.
All right.
Absolutely.
All right. With that, we're going to take a short break and we'll be right back after these messages. Okay, welcome back to our show. So we're springing ahead, talking about all the things to do in the spring, time to get your home in tip-top shape. The next thing we want to talk about is planting, gardening. A lot of people are out there excited to get the plants in, maybe put some shrubs around the house, spruce it up, maybe new trees. Now, springtime and fall time are usually the best times to plant. So we want to say one thing. Before you start digging, make sure you call the New Jersey Call Before You Dig number. You can Google it and then call because that's a requirement. You don't want to be digging and hit your cable line or if you're digging deep and hit a gas line, a water line. So it's important and it's required to please call before you dig. That's the first.
Absolutely
that's the first thing.
You don't want to set a whole, your house or neighbors without any cable or without any electricity. Yeah, it's dangerous too. Yes.
Yeah, you might be bored with nothing to do then. Now I have to go back to the.
So that's really, call before you dig. That's super, super important because if you hire a professional company to do it for you, and they definitely do that. But if you just buy one tree, you think it's a small tree, you want to do it yourself, and just call before. Yeah, make sure. Yeah.
Right. And then before you start planting and looking at what you want to plant, if it looks pretty, you should research the species and the type of sunlight, shade they need, but also the size they're going to grow to. So, you can plan accordingly. You don't want to plant something too close to the house. Oftentimes we run into homes. They have shrubbery that was there from 20, 30 years ago that was nice when it was first planted, but it grew so enormously that it's just overshadowing the house, and it's causing
the foundation.
Affect the foundation because when the roots grow, they can penetrate the foundation. They can cause serious cracking, which then
we had one home. You're absolutely right. I had one home. They planted a tree in the back corner of the yard. Right, that tree grows so big. It was like a 20, 30 years old tree grew so big, even the roots went through the basement, the wall. Yeah.
Wow.
They that was like a home inspection become huge problem.
Right.
Yes.
And also you want to plan the trees accordingly because you don't want the trees too close to the house. Number one, for the foundation, because the roots could cause a foundation problem. And secondly, when the branches start overhanging the house. So many times we go to houses and the branches are right on the roof. So that's a conduit for the squirrels and other animals to climb on, to hop onto the roof. You're going to get the branches, the leaves in the gutter, and just going to cause all sorts of problems for down the road.
That's well said. Plus, Ken, when you have too much shade on your roof and they grow mold and it's reduce the life for your shingle. The roof. So that's why it's always keep the branches away from your roof. That's the best. Just plant your tree a little bit further out from your house. That would be good. As you said, Ken, to research the species is extremely important. I did have a home, right? And the owner felt, look, the bamboo is so beautiful. So they plant some bamboo in the backyard. And at the beginning, nothing grows. So the bamboo is there. Few years later, suddenly, overnight, the shoot off everywhere. That's become, the bamboo is very, grow.
When they say it regenerates, man, it regenerates.
Yes.
It'll regenerate. It expands.
A few years, you couldn't see anything above the ground, but they developed such a strong root system under the ground. So that was create a huge problem for the homeowner. And because so much the bamboo there, they definitely damage the foundation too. So be careful when you plant. Yes,
right.
What kind of species?
Yeah, and then in terms of the maintenance, every year you should trim your shrubs so that nothing is. You should at least have a foot to 2 feet, ideally, away from the house, so nothing is touching. So you have a clearance, and there's no contact. The air can go through. Right. So that's a good. So in terms of the spring maintenance, get out there and start pruning your shrubs to keep them trim.
Yep, and always right. A lot of a home, right? When you have very good curb peeling, when you sell, it's absolutely bring the more buyers' interest. But if you do a little bit a year or design it the way well thought, right, and put a little bit like a Japanese maple, for example, right? If you bought it the small, it's only cost very little, like a $20 kind of thing. After 10, 15 years, you live there, or 20 years, that become a beautiful, very, very expensive plant, right? So plant it early, just do a little bit of time, but you enjoying it. You're enjoying your yard, the curb peeling, and when you're ready to sell one day, that curb peeling will attract a lot of buyers.
Right. And then the buyers will have the confidence to know that the house is well maintained in the inside and the outside, that the likelihood is that it's a good house, all around, even though the perception is the reality oftentimes.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So let's talk about the windows now. Windows are a very important maintenance topic and a very important topic when buyers do a home inspection. They typically check all the windows. The home inspector will try to open and close them. And what happens a lot of times is with the older homes, the windows haven't been open for 20, 30 years. So when the inspector goes to open it, it's stuck.
It doesn't open.
It doesn't open. And it's either painted shut or due to whatever reason it doesn't open. So it's a good idea, even if you don't open the windows on a regular basis, at least once in the spring and once in the fall, open and close them, make sure they're all operational, and if need be, lubricate them, because over time, if you don't move them at all, they're going to get stuck and rigid and then, lead to problems.
It's very costly.
It can be very costly, right?
Very costly. And I understand, not everybody, when I was little, we don't have air conditioning, obviously. So we have to open each window to get the fresh air in summer. But now we'll use heavily rely on the central air. But try to open each window if you can. So you will, just the window, once again, like car, right? You have to keep it moving. If you buy a brand new car, parking there for 20 years, you can't start again. The same
That's
thing.
Right.
Yep. So you have to try to open each window, try to service a little bit, twice a year, spring and fall. So your window always in good condition.
Right.
Yes.
And then also what happens a lot of times with the older homes is the seal breaks. So you want to check your windows for the seals, for the insulation, make sure that there's no broken seals. Number one, that's an aesthetic issue, but more importantly, the insulation is broken. Then that means the heat, you're getting a heat and air loss through that window. So you want to try to keep the seals in good working order as well.
Absolutely. If your window is vinyl, today's check with your contractor. You may just need to replace the glass, right? Some contractor can do that in especially spring and fall. The weather is good, so you can afford to board up the window to get the glass changed because it's a very quick service. However, if you have an older window, like a wooden framed, and unfortunately, I don't think that's possible. So you have to check that. And if you do have to need to replace the window, and just replace it. Because if you replace one window, it's expensive. Can you imagine you replace the whole house window one day at once? That's going to be a big ticket, right? Especially today's inflation, the window price went really high. So, that's the thing. If you do one thing, a little bit here, a little bit there on the way, it's never be, can you imagine if you always, like you can always tidy up the house a little bit. For me, I'm always wait, if I have a party, something, I have to clean the house. It's like a whole day job, right? But if you do a little bit a time, it's not too bad. Yeah, it's manageable.
Because then you have one project a year as opposed to waiting 15 or 20 years and having 20 projects to take on.
Maybe more because it
creates more problems, right? Overgrown shrubs, gutters that need to be replaced and, clogged.
A lot of cost and plus overwhelmed, by so many.
So it's just like a car. If you never get an oil change and you wait 10,000 or 15,000 or 20,000 miles and don't do any tune-ups, that when the car reaches 50,000, it's probably ready to die. Likewise with a home, if nothing's done to it over 20, 30 years, I think sadly we have examples of that where homes were abandoned for whatever reasons in central Jersey. The home was with nothing wrong with the house, just that the family moved away. It was left abandoned, and over time it just deteriorated. The roof got a hole in it. It wasn't. That just happens.
Very sad. At the end, I have to board down, and the people bought just build a new home from scratch. And if they just a little bit of maintenance, that house will carry much more value. Especially that was a premium lot, in the town. So just maintenance. Once again, I'm not asking everybody go out to redo the kitchen, redo the bathroom, have to update the whole house. No, just a little maintenance go a long way.
Yeah. They may like the blue tile too. That's where a lot of people may say, "Hey, what's wrong with that? I like that '70s tile, the small black and white and black." Or
I don't know about that, Ken, but at least that's not immediate. That's not immediate thing.
The main thing with the bathrooms and it would be the caulking and make sure there's no water getting behind the tiles. As long as the tiles are in good working order, if you get water behind it, then that could lead to mold and a very big problem. So as long as everything is clean and mold free, then it doesn't matter from a cosmetic standpoint. That's just that issue can be upgraded by the new buyer without any much problems.
Yep. Equally, we had so many homes, right? The house exactly look from the day they built, but such good condition. It's like mint condition. Everything is such order. Remember a few years ago, we had two condos, identical floor plan. Everything's identical. And same community, different building. And one had the most updated HVAC system, which is worth $10,000, and jacuzzi upgrade, right? The other one, no upgrade, everything the same. The both condo built in 90s, right? When we put on the market, the one had no upgrade, sold more. Why? Everything was so clean. Everything was so neat. The other one, even though it had a new HVAC and a jacuzzi, but the house is a little bit, messy.
It got rough.
As you said, the perception is the reality. And the buyer feel the other home is a better condition, better take care of. I mean, the exactly same age of house, exactly same community, just a next building, right? But the maintenance is really, I said to the owner, you should thank your wife, right? She keep the house so beautifully. Yeah.
Every daily cleaning and week, maintenance is
maintenance
the key.
is the key. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So also another item is pest control.
Yes.
You want to keep the insects, the rodents out of the house. So it's not a bad idea to engage a contract with a pest control company to come on a annual basis,
yeah.
at least to check the house, make sure there are no termites or any carpenter ants or anything that could be destructive to the home. I think that's.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Once again, when you have this annual contract, they come in and check in and out, and you prevent. So you don't want the damage, and then you have to treat, and then you have to fix the damage. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Right. All right, and now we're going to talk about your favorite. One of your favorite items is decluttering. Now, obviously, you should you should take a look at the closets, like we say in the fall. Look at the closets, look at your storage items, and try, so you're not stuck with. So when you're ready to sell, you don't have a big project. If you declutter on a regular basis, look at things that you haven't used for the last couple of years, and either donate them, recycle them. Give them to your in-laws or your sister-in-laws, your cousins, whoever can you wear them. Some pass them down the family chain. But if you're not using them and they're just taking up space, then it's get rid of them.
Ken famous saying to me is, if you didn't use the things for 3 years or 5, you don't need it. I said, no, maybe 5 years, maybe 5 years. Yeah. So that's very important to declutter, yes.
Right, so we can go through your closet. I can go through your closet and start decluttering.
I'll do myself, no thanks. I don't need help, I'm okay.
Right.
I'm all right.
Yeah. And then the last thing really quick we want to cover in the last minute about moving things around. You can also, might be the time to give your house, your home is your backdrop. So you might want to give it a fresh look by moving some furniture around, painting, changing the colors.
Or maybe just hang some nice decor, just change the theme. A lot of people think, I don't have time, I don't have so much money to do it. It doesn't require that much time and that much money. My mom used to move the furniture around in the house.
Maybe so you feel like you're moving into a new home then.
Yeah, you put 1 or 2 new painting, or nowadays your cell phone can take a picture, very easy, print it out, make a frame and put on the wall. That will give you, different feeling and uplift.
Maybe uplift you a little bit, right?
And if you want to paint one wall as in the house, that will give you different. If you want to paint the whole room, that will definitely give you some new, fresh feeling about the home. Yes.
Yep, absolutely. All right, I just want to end this show by giving a shout out for next Sunday, April 30th. The East Brunswick Spring Market is happening at the Civic Center, located at 1 Civic Center Drive, East Brunswick. Please be sure to come out from 1 to 4 p.m. Put it on your calendar. It's going to be a family-friendly event. There's going to be arts, crafts, entertainment, food, and more. Again, that's next Sunday, April 30th from 1 to 4 p.m. I'll be there. Hope to see you guys then. For now, have a good one.
I heard food, so I'll be there.
All right, we'll both be there then.
Thank you.
Bye.